This is Miikka Anttonen, also known as Chuck Bass. Sorry for the slight delay. I had a tiny problem with the graphics, which I had to fix. Also, my apologies for the absurd Scandinavian accent. I haven't spoken English in like a million years, basically. So I feel like my vocabulary is pretty strong, but my accent sounds like a Finnish race car driver. It'll get better once I get a few more beers deep, though. I should probably just throw a quick disclaimer out there that this stream is not going to be one that's suitable for children. And I also don't condone any sort of drinking while gambling. I don't condone any of the things that I might be doing tonight. So, yeah, probably a pretty good idea to steer away from this stream if you're an underage child or you have a gambling addiction or something like that. Unibet has been kind enough to sponsor our stream with 500 euros worth of tournament tickets, and they will be given away in a free roll in about 55 minutes, or that's when the free roll starts. I'll be playing 4 tables throughout the night, I think. I might fire a couple of other tournaments on the side at some point, just to make sure that we have like deep rounds throughout the night. If you're wondering why the setup looks a bit silly, it's because the Unibet tables are like a lot wider in size than every other software. So I'm basically holding this really big spot here for the for some Unibet tournament that I'll be firing real soon. I mean, and also we'll have the free roll coming up shortly. Yeah, for those who don't know, I have a bit of a prop bet going on here. I think that might be a bit of an understatement, really. Um, Basically, I bet my entire career that I could turn 500 euros into 10,000 euros in 120 days. And during those 120 days, I have a have slash had a couple of commitments, which also means that I won't even be able to play for 120 days. I think I'll probably be playing for like, I don't know, 90 days or something like that. This is day 47, and I currently have, what do I have? 2,400 and something. So I would say that I'm roughly on pace to make it, but not on pace if you assume that I'm going to be making the same amount every day. But obviously, when you start with 500 euros, you have to be pretty careful at the beginning. Yeah, that's the reason why we are playing so small. I'm playing like 5 euro tournaments, 2 euro tournaments, stuff like that, because I have 500 buy-ins for 5 euro tournaments now, which I think is easily enough for those levels. But I can just fire off like the big 109 and hope to bank. So and also because I assume that this stream might be getting more viewers than what I'm used to. So I assume that I'll be pretty busy with the chat as well. So I kind of just want to focus on chat and having fun and maybe not taking the poker so seriously for a day. So I don't really want to stress myself by playing too high stakes. Just for today. I know it'll be more entertaining if I played like 1K or whatever, but I think I would fail at the challenge if I dropped a few buy-ins. Yeah, man, I don't even know where to start. All right, so yeah, this is the first time that I have ever streamed in English in my life, as you can probably tell. When I stream in Finnish, I feel like I'm a fair bit more efficient. From which country are you? I'm from Finland. It is quite a witch country. um, yeah, it is pretty fucking dark and miserable here right now. I haven't seen sunlight in like 3 or 4 weeks. Well, I was just on a holiday in Greece a while ago, and I saw some sunlight there. But ever since I got back here, the sun starts setting at like 1 p.m. or something ridiculous. And when you play MTTs for a living, you're never really awake until like I don't know 2 p.m. or something. So this really gets to you. My original plan was to drink red wine all night, but then I realized like 10 minutes before the start of the stream that I don't have a wine bottle opener, which is definitely a bit of a fail on my part. So I have a bunch of red wine, but I don't have a wine bottle opener. So I ran to the corner store and bought a bunch of beers instead. And yeah, I'm not a Unibet sponsored player or anything like that, by the way. So I think very fondly of Unibet as a company. I have quite a few fun stories related to Unibet as well from the glory days of online poker. They involve getting arrested while being almost a chip leader in a Unibet Open on day two and like all kinds of crazy shit. I might get into that stuff a bit later on. Unibet probably wouldn't wouldn't want me to play drunk on stream or anything if I was a sponsored pro or tell crazy stories about all the stuff that I will be touching on later on. So anything that I say or do tonight, these will be my own opinions and my own actions and not related to Unibet or any other site in any way. For those who don't know, I released a bunch of free strategy articles on Upswing Poker. If you just Google for my name, which is Miikka Anttonen, and the word Upswing Poker, you'll find them. Alternatively, you can just navigate to Upswing Poker and search for strategy articles. They should be somewhere in there. Yeah, I try to make them as good as possible, basically. So I'm obviously very happy if people are enjoying them. For those who don't know, this is the Pokereceiver is a Finnish poker website. I started my career about 9 years ago. I've always blogged on Pokereceiver, and we've had a really good relationship for this whole time. And when I told them that I'm possibly looking to do this crazy challenge, and I asked if they had any interest in me maybe streaming this, and we came up with a deal. So that's why I'm streaming here on Pokereceiver's channel, which is awesome. Virtually all of the streams on Pokereceiver will be in Finnish, unfortunately. I stream once a week, but I only stream in Finnish as well. But there was just so many people asking for an English language stream that I decided to do this once. And I have no idea what's like how I'm gonna do because I really haven't spoken English in a million years. Really absurd. Speaking of absurd, what do you think about this Jack 5 button shove? Guy open shoves button for like 25 bigs, I guess. Better be lucky than good, someone would say. We have some interesting players here in the Winamax €5 4max tournament. Everyone with a red tag is a fish. We have people who are check calling 10-5 offsuits on ace high flops. We have people who are 3-bet shoving 200 big blinds and like crazy shit like that. I guess it's not really surprising given that it's Friday night, €5 4max tournament. People are looking for action. These 4max tournaments are kind of interesting. I guess same could even be said for 6max tournaments these days, because people always play like much more aggressively in these formats because they think that like I don't know, maybe they watch training videos or something and they feel like because there are less players in the table they should play more aggressively, but it's completely wrong, and it's actually the opposite. So in a 9 max MTT table, the antes usually make up for something like one big blind, maybe slightly more. So, okay, this wizard got our chips here as well. Nicely done. Luckily we can rebuy. So, yeah, if you're playing a 9max tournament, there's basically 2.5 big blinds in the pot already. So if you open to 2.5x, you just need to get folds half the time to break even. But here in 4max, for example, there's only like the antes only make for 80 chips at the big blind at 200. So there's just not that much point in making steals. There's not that much point in like playing super spastic aggressive because the pots are smaller, so it makes less sense to steal them. And on top of that, everyone else usually plays like a complete spastic moron in this tournament. So there's actually quite a lot of value in just like bluffing a bit less, keeping the pots a bit smaller, just waiting for people to explode, more or less. Like here, I would expect that this guy probably has air like roughly 99.9% of the time. And whatever bet size he uses, we can just call and laugh at his 9-7 off here. That would be a pretty standard 4max hand. Yeah, 9 deuce off. I mean, case in point, that's how these tournaments usually play. No one ever folds anything. So if you came here to learn anything about tournament poker, this is my number one lesson. In blind versus blind pots, no one ever has anything. In 4max tournaments, no one ever has anything in any pot. Whenever some idiot calls your c-bet in position, they never have anything. It's crazy. Like a blind versus blind pot in 4max. It's crazy. Like they never have anything. It's like as if they never get dealt any sort of cards. It's like their whole range is always just two cards. And it's weird because like you would expect that like maybe once every 2 years in that blind versus blind pot that we just played, for example, maybe once in every 2 years you would actually see the guy have like a pair. But no, they just never have a pair. It's like pairs are not in their range. And then if they somehow have flop trips, they will like check back the turn to trap or something stupid like that. So it's not even that their range is unbalanced. It's that they don't even have a range. They just have like cards or like fucking Trivial Pursuit question cards. So yeah, just don't fold. And if you have a hand that can beat 9 deuce off on some random board, just check call with your eyes closed, and you can probably already play poker for a living. That's like roughly all you need to know about tournament poker, and you're like a 90% ROI guy in these €5 tournaments already. So yeah, there will be some pretty funny stories later on. I'm going to wait for a couple of hours because it's really early in the UK, for example. It's only 6 p.m. there, so there might be some young kids watching, and I really don't wanna start telling stories about lesbian orgies and like degenerate gambling and stuff like that just yet, because I'm responsible like that. But I'll get there later on, hopefully. 600 people in the free roll, they should probably hire you. I would oblige, I think. So if anyone from Unibet is watching this and they need anyone to boost their free roll numbers, you can contact my assistant. The LMBTQ, did I pronounce that right? I hope I did. Community is with you. Miikka is a very handsome guy. Thank you. That is the first time anyone has ever described my face as handsome on stream. Usually they just say that I look like a Labrador Retriever or something. So I mean, I'm 30 years old and I still get asked for an ID every single time when I buy beer. That just happened an hour ago. Last summer I went to my friend's graduation party, which was held in the middle of the day on a Saturday. It was like 1 p.m. or something. And I was wearing a tuxedo and I was looking really flashy. And on my way there, I thought, yeah, I'll just have one beer. So I went to this like really shitty gas station to literally just buy one beer for the road. And I still got asked for an ID, and I thought it was pretty hilarious because like if I'm some underage dude, I think it's fairly unlikely that my plan to buy beer is to buy just one beer from a gas station wearing a tuxedo. So yeah, in Finland the alcohol drinking age is 18, so they think that I'm 12 years younger than I am. I think that it can be a good thing to be babyface though, because I assume that I'll peak later. I have already planned myself a George Clooney type of getting old, so I assume that when I'm 45, I'm just gonna be handsome as fuck, and I'll be sitting on a yacht somewhere with all these models and stuff. But yeah, that hasn't happened yet, so I'm still waiting. And meanwhile, I'll just be the baby-faced guy. Oh man, I have one Tinder story related to that I'm already kind of. I really shouldn't tell this story because it's very gross. But oh man, okay, I'll save it for later. I'll have one or two more beers and then I'll tell the story. It is pretty brutal. But yeah, that's related to my baby faceness. I say that NordicBet is, or MPN is the toughest, Unibet is the softest, and Winamax is somewhere in between. I mean, obviously any site at like €5 buy-in level is going to be pretty soft. But yeah, I think you can see some regs on NordicBet even at these stakes. For those who don't know me, I played high stakes MTTs for a very, very long time. I used to have an average buy-in of about $100. Won some pretty reasonably sized stuff in my heyday. 42,000 was my biggest online score and 100k was my biggest live score. Now, the reason we are playing so low, if I'm being completely honest, part of the reason why we're playing so low here is because I don't know if I'm beating high stakes MTTs anymore. They have gotten a lot tougher over the years. I took quite a lot of time off to write a book. I took almost 2 years off the normal grind. I still played on the side, but I wasn't really studying, wasn't really keeping up with the games. And it's been 10 years now. And I also decided that I probably don't really want to play poker for that much longer. I don't want to be the super washed up guy who should have quit 5 years ago. I mean, I'm already sort of reaching that territory, you know. So yeah, I came up with this challenge. I have to turn 500 euros into 10,000 euros in 120 days, following basic bankroll management. I also have to win at least 1,000 buy-ins in the process. So this very likely will be the last prop bet of my life, pretty much. If I lose, I don't have that many regrets. I'll be like, I'm not gonna hate my life just entering the writing life and leaving poker behind, because I'm 30 years old. I've played this game for long enough. I still love the game. I'm having a bunch of fun every day, but at the same time, I feel like that, like, I'm not sure what exactly, like, when are you too old to be a poker pro? I don't know, but I don't want to be like a 40-year-old guy who plays online poker for a living. I think being 30, it's all right, but I can see the finish line, sort of. Even if I win this prop bet, and I seriously might fail, but if I do win, I still think that I'm probably going to call it quits. Or maybe I'll go on for a few months longer. Maybe Unibet will hire me as their new stream ambassador, because apparently my face is the way to get 861 861 players in a free roll. Oh man, I feel so bad for my friends, because I was telling them that this will be great value. Yeah, not so much. But yeah, so the reason we are playing this such low stakes is because my bankroll is now at 2,500 roughly, and I need to follow bankroll management to win the prop bet. All right, King Deuce suited here. It's not super exciting to get it in super deep, but I just don't see any other way of playing this. If I had King Jack, I think I should probably just call. With King Deuce, well, blocking the king hurts us a little bit, I guess, because we are blocking the hands that we want to get value from. But against random people in 5-euro tournaments, I think this is the way to go. And that is the worst turn card in the deck. Oh man. Yeah, I think I have to shove. I'm just gonna lose to like King Queen, or maybe even King Jack. I don't know. It's really not great. But I can't check fold. I don't think check calling makes any sense really. Because check calling just if I check, it'll just allow him to get a free river card with like King 10 or something. He might even have some stupid ace turn. So yeah, I'm not thrilled about this, but we only have 2/3 of the pot behind. I think I have to shove and probably lose. Yeah, that's one way to lose it. It's obviously a pretty hideous play by him, but it's 5-euro tournament, so that's expected to happen. If I think that spot would be pretty interesting if we had like over one pot behind. But I mean, it's a 4-way pot, and I'm check raising here. I think King 10 here is just a snap fold already. And yeah, that's just a really bad turn card. Lucky to somehow be ahead, but that's like the one hand we can expect to get value from pretty much. Oh yeah, what book did you write? Alright, so I don't want to float my boat too much here. Is that an English saying? It might not be. So what I'm trying to say is that I don't intend to use this stream for like advertising my book, but I assume it's fine to spend 30 seconds on it. So I have a pretty interesting life story, I guess you could say. I don't mean that in like a self-promoting kind of way, but like I started sports betting when I was 10 years old, and by the time I was in high school, I dropped out to pursue sports betting. Then I found poker in 2007, and there's been quite a lot of interesting times along the way. I'll be telling a few stories later on. There's just been so much crazy shit that's happened over the years. But yeah, point being that I have this thread on 2+2. If you Google my somewhat different poker story, it'll bring you to the 2+2 thread, which is obviously free to read, and the cliff notes of the story can be found there. And yeah, I was approached by a few publishers to turn my story into a book, and long story short, that's what I did. It's called Once a Gambler, and if you go to onceagambler.com, or alternatively just Google Once a Gambler book or Miikka Anttonen book or whatever, you can find it. It's on Amazon. There is also another book called Once a Gambler, apparently, written by someone else that has nothing to do with poker. But yeah, it should be pretty easy to find that one. Do you play on these 3 sites only? No, I play on, let's see how many softwares I have installed. Yeah, I have 8 different softwares on this computer, and I think I pretty much play on all of the sites. I tend to stay away from PokerStars though, especially for the challenge, because at $5 buy-ins or whatever, the fields are too big. I don't really want to jeopardize winning this challenge by accepting way too much unnecessary variance. If I don't manage to win enough at these low buy-ins, if it really looks like I'm way behind schedule, I think I'll just start playing stars match fields and hope to win something. But I at least want to try to do this by playing slightly smaller fields. So I really don't play much on stars at all. But I play a bunch on Unibet. I play a bunch of Winamax, 888, Microgaming, iPoker, pretty much every site there is. So like I said before, if you want to beat 4max tournaments, just make a pair and don't fold, basically. Against this guy who's kind of clicking buttons, I think it's probably fine to just check back. I usually want to isolate here. I mean, just, raise the limp. But I'm kind of worried because he seems kind of spazzy and button clickery. He might just limp raise some hands that he shouldn't be limp raising with, and that's going to be making things a bit difficult for us. So I like to keep the pot smaller. We have the nuts here basically, so I think we can use pretty big sizings. Yeah, I think I just have to go for greedy value here. Yeah. Alright, so at least in one tournament we're doing pretty well. Alright, so the good news is that since we raised the last time, we at least get to raise with ace king here as well. It's a pretty unique board. Usually on these monotone boards you want to do a lot of checking. I do think that... I honestly don't know what's best here. I think the answer could be to check still. I just don't know. Same applies for this turn. I think it's probably good to check and see what he does. Now that the board runs pretty annoyingly for us. Against someone as tight as him, I think I find a river fold if he bets. I'm really not sure. I'm always very confused about those monotone textures. Like the one thing I know is that the fields just massively overstab them. Like massively overstab them. I think usually those spots should go check check very often on the flop, and then the fields always stab them at like 99% radio. And that is a disastrous call by him. I mean, that is just bad. Happy to take his chips though. So I shoved the trees for 20 bigs and he just calls the queen jack, but that's fine. Happy to take his chips though. What's going on here? I shove queens and get called by king 5 and a3. Alright, I'll take it. Yeah, like not that many great things are really gonna happen in a 3-way pot. If the turn is anything but a queen or a 4 and it goes bet and a call, I still have to fold. Even against just a bet and a fold, it's kind of weird. Here, I should just call, I think. I'm trying to figure out if I should make an adjustment though. I think I should just call. I realize that there are a lot of bad river cards, but I still think that's the right play though. If he like shoves the river, I'm gonna cry. Yeah, even this isn't too exciting. I might seriously lose to something. I can fold obviously, but I'm not thrilled about this at all. Yeah, I think if I raise the turn, I'm overplaying my hand pretty hard. Obviously, if I know that he can have queen 8 there, I think his river bet is pretty bad. If he can have queen 8 there, then I should just raise the turn and somehow try to get it in. But yeah, I still sometimes have trouble adjusting to these players. Because you just see so many showdowns that you never see in your life. I think once we get to the stage where I'll have less tables but a deep run, so I have more more time to tell stories and don't have to focus on clicking these buttons so much, I think that'll be a pretty good time to up the alcohol content. I don't think I need to do it just yet though. All right, break time. I'll be gone for about 2 minutes and I'll see you in a bit.